Hi, this is Dan Buller, retired electronics engineer, sitting on the front deck of my houseboat again. It's Friday, but the fishermen are out like crazy, so they're out trying to get some free fish. I want to talk about your comments. A lot of people leave me comments on my videos, and that's great. Leave comments. Good or bad, you know, whatever. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong. You never know. Before we jump into that, I want to show you, look at this view. Okay, that's not the best view I've ever had. I've shown you other views, but take a look at this. This was taken from what I call the North Bay in Vancouver Lake. So we go around down to St. Helens and all the way up Lake River to Vancouver Lake, and we've been a lot of places in Vancouver Lake, and we go to this place called North Bay, which is perfect because when we're in North Bay, we get our stern facing north, and that's great because what happens is the wind comes out of the north, there's almost no fetch, so the wind can blow as hard as it wants, it'll blow right over us, and we have this beautiful view, beautiful view. I really appreciate you watching my videos, and I appreciate your comments. Here's one that was really good on the validity of the Buller harmonic solution. Dan, you're a genius. Thank God I found you. Okay, I appreciate that. I really do. Maybe I'm a genius, maybe not. Who knows? But I'm doing my best, and I think I am. But I won't be recognized. I guarantee you, I won't be recognized by many people. Another one on Obsessive Audio said the Buller harmonic solution makes sense. The fact that the clip wave and the missing chunk have the same harmonic profile makes sense because both examples have the same phase angle. Exactly. That's Law 4, if you remember Law 4. The fact that the missing piece, if you do an FFT on the missing piece, it has the same harmonic signature. He called it harmonic profile there. And that's a beautiful way of putting it, the harmonic profile. He tried to do it with a plug-in. He's trying to figure out if you should just buy Excel. I'm not trying to say Excel, use whatever you can use. I use Excel because it was available to me, and I had done FFTs in Excel before. I did them, I relearned how to do them when I was at Tektronix. I really appreciate that, and I really appreciate you guys teaching me things with these comments. So Law 4, absolutely. And use Excel or use whatever you can get your hands on, whatever works for you. And for me, it's Excel. It was Excel. I don't use it anymore because my PC died and my Mac, I had another Mac die, so I'm like, okay, this one was a good one. Russian name, can't pronounce it. Dan, I'm trying to get law number 5. What if the phase of the harmonic is distorted by group delay, which is what usually happens in analog change? This is not related to the fundamental and the phases are shifted. How do we know it's a harmonic? That's a good question. And so I said, yes, it could absolutely happen, in which case you could measure the group delay for that frequency. And what I did was I wrote an article, and I talk about it here, Achieving Perfection. It's an article on LinkedIn I call Achieving Perfection. I admit absolutely that Buller laws of harmonics number 5 really can't be seen in real life because 0, 90, 180, 270, that's the phase of the harmonics. But good luck capturing a waveform without a phase offset because even if you use a Next Test or a Lightning or Audio Precision Applicos, you're going to be off a little tiny bit. A little tiny bit. It doesn't matter how much. And so, even if you're off a little bit, it'll propagate. But in Achieving Perfection, I show you the Excel, and you can convert it to whatever, C or Pascal or Java or whatever. I show you how to calculate the phase, recalculate it back to the normal phase. Now, you would want to do a bypass around the device. So you do a bypass around the device, use a relay or whatever, and get that all worked out. Remember, you've got to do coherent sampling, and you've got to have a trigger on the Next Test you can trigger the start of a capture, and it was calibrated within a couple of nanoseconds, a couple of nanoseconds anyway. And so that'll really, in most audio applications for sure, and even in high-speed applications, you would be able to offset it some. But if you can't offset it, you would use this. And here's the formula. Measure the time offset relative to the fundamental. The fundamental is the best place to do that because the fundamental is the biggest signal. And the biggest signal will have very little noise in it. And so you measure the phase of that, and you're going to align it to be a sine wave or a cosine wave. Cosine wave is better because then you only have two phases, 0 and 180. But whatever. Then you do this thing where you round the value that you captured and times the harmonic number, whatever harmonic number you're at. So if it's, let's say you're off by 1 degree times the fifth harmonic times 5, that tells you how far off you're going to be. So you can do that. You can measure group delay, and I answered him that way. You can measure, I also mentioned hysteresis. Whatever. You need a stake in the ground. I've done tests for years and years and years. You need a stake in the ground. And that's what Bullard Laws for Mach number 5 is. It's a stake in the ground. That's what you're going to measure from. You're going to measure stuff from that. My laws of physics, they're laws of physics. They're not observed on a spectrum analyzer or some other worthless piece of shit like that. Let's talk about the op-amp video. Most of you are here because of the op-amp video. I did that for my friend Martha. And Martha was in the same school that I was in. She was in Technical Training Center. She was a teacher. I don't know why. She was not very good. But she was a teacher there, and she, years after working at TTC, didn't understand op-amps. And I'm like, Martha, you worked at TTC. How could you not understand op-amps? Jim Harris, who's dead now, brilliant guy, very left-wing, very left-wing. In fact, he started a website called Progressive Secretary. It's gone now, but very left-wing guy. But I didn't dislike him. He's a nice guy, you know. We had a nice relationship, even though I'm a hard right-winger. But, you know, we had a good relationship, nice guy, brilliant guy. The op-amp thing was his. That was his baby. And so the op-amp video was based on what he did. And here's a bunch of comments from people who really appreciated the op-amp video. And I did that for Martha. And Martha was applying for a job at GE in Reno, Nevada. And she got the job. She got the job because of that video. So I want you to learn that video. Study that video. Learn how to do it. The equivalent thing, when the two inputs are not the same voltage, that means that the output cannot force the positive input or the negative input to get to the right voltage. So that happens a lot. And you know, usually you're in there with a voltmeter trying to troubleshoot those kind of situations. So once again, from the river, this is Dan Bullard. See ya.